Hello everyone. Hello, I see some of you jumping on. Good morning, Debbie. Great to see you. I'm just getting my comments set up here so I can make sure not to miss anybody. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Valerie. So great to see you. Thank you for joining today. All right. Hello, Claire. Claire's here. Kasem, hi. Great to see you. Claire is here if you guys have any questions on anything, or if we need links to anything. Hi, Linda. Hello, Kathy. Great to see you guys. Welcome. Hi, Sheila. I know you said you were going to be here, so I'm so happy to see you. Hi, Teresa. Hello. Hi, Carol. Hi, everyone. Of course, Ruth Ann. Hello. Hi, everybody. Tony. Hello. Hi, Lisa. Yes, Debbie is our neighbor. She is from Salem, Oregon as well. Hi, Shanti. So glad to see you. I hope your wrist, I think it's your wrist. I hope your wrist is healing. Hi, Carolyn. Great to see you. Thanks for coming. Been thinking about you. Hi, TJ. Okay, everybody. Hello. I'm going to try to catch. Hi, Diana. I'm going to try to catch more of you. Hi, Lisa, as we move on. But welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Kendra Krebs, for those of you who are maybe new here, beginner stampers. And I'm so happy to have you this morning. Our theme for today is going to be back to basics. And although I know a lot of you here with us are maybe not beginners, you've been stamping for many, many years, but sometimes it's really nice to have a refresher. So for those of you joining us that are not new, I hope that you get something out of this. I'm going to be going through like all the basics, so like all of the products that you need to get started. We've had a lot of new people joining both on the Art Impressions Facebook page, and then also Carla Eccles, her Facebook group. That is her group. It's not our group, but we absolutely love it. It's called Art Impressions Stamp Group. And if you haven't gone over to join her, definitely go over there. Ruth Ann is a moderator. She's amazing. They're both amazing. So definitely go over there. Hello, everyone. Hi. I'm so sorry if I'm missing your comments. I've got comments up here. So I hope I don't miss. I hope I don't miss everybody. But if I don't shout you out, I will look at the comments afterwards, and I will see your wonderful comments. So thank you so much. To get started today, I'm going to go through some of the products and some of the things that we use on a regular basis. It's some of the things that you are a must-have, you could say. And so those things are going to be, we're going to start out with some tools, your brush, stamp positioner, acrylic blocks, all of that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. And then we will also have a tutorial as well, and how to use flowers and foliage and all of that. So this might be a little bit longer of a live. I hope that's okay. For those of you who can't stay with us the whole time, that's totally fine. I will definitely save the video and post it onto the Facebook wall so that you can watch anytime. And okay, so we're gonna first start with our watercolor paper. This is an absolute must. You've got to have a watercolor paper. And the one that we use most often now is the Canson XL watercolor paper. This is a heavyweight paper, 140 pound. It's amazing. You've got to have a watercolor paper. You cannot, well, that's not true. You can, but when you're first starting, you need to have a watercolor paper, because if you use a cardstock or something along those lines, you're gonna get some waving. It's gonna wet your paper too much. It's gonna soak in too much, and then you're gonna get kind of this waving effect if you use even just a teeny bit too much water. So once you kind of start working with it and you know how much water to use, you can kind of explore into the cardstock world, but you have to have a lot of control over your water. I've done it and I have messed up many times just because it's really easy to get too much water on the cardstock. So we always just say, as a baseline practice, get your watercolor paper, okay? All right, and then also we have acrylic blocks. So these acrylic blocks are going to hold your Art Impressions watercolor stamps, and of course they would hold any clean cushion stamp, but these ones are made specifically for our watercolor stamps. So there's a 1.5 inch and there's a 1 inch in the 5-pack. So you're gonna get 3 of the 1 inch and 2 of the 1.5 inch in the 5-pack. Okay, and this is just really nice because you don't have to, you know, put a stamp on and take it off every single time. We've got, I mean, when I'm doing tutorials and teaching and stuff, I've got a whole bin of these because I really like to have the stamp on the block, especially if I'm going to reuse it over and over, like maybe one of my flowers or something like that. So I like to have a lot of these on hand, but this is a really great little box to get started with. And then we also have on the website I believe this is 3x3, and this is a really great one for the bigger stamps. So for example, one of the stamps I'll use today is the little beach cottage, and I've got that on a bigger block, just like that. So if you don't have one of these, you could always use a stamp press or something like that, but this is just a lot more handy. So acrylic blocks, you gotta have those. Let's see what else. You also need to have a palette. So the AI palette, this is really great when we add color to our works of art. So for example, if we wanted to take something like that little beach cottage I just showed you. So I'm probably gonna stamp this in like a mixture of the blue and the brown. And I'm gonna get like this really beautiful gray, but maybe I wanna make it like a teal color. So I would take, whatever color, I'm just gonna grab a random, and I would take that color and color it onto my palette and grab that color. And you'll see this in the demonstration. I will absolutely show you how to do this. But I would grab that color using my brush, and then I will put it onto the paper. I don't have a pre-stamped paper right now, but I will show you during the demo how to do that. It's a really great way to, Fabine, hi, great to see you. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad you're here. Hello. Sorry, I saw her on the stamp group, and she was saying she may not make it because she's in Switzerland. So the time zone is like way later there. And so I'm so happy to see you. Okay, so that's the little palette. That's the color palette that we use. I want to just mention really quickly, if you have a palette like this, don't wipe your palette clean once you're finished making it, or once you're finished with your project, because these can be reconstituted with water at any time. So if you're finished with your project, just leave the colors on here because you can use them again the next time you go to color. So you're not wasting your inks this way. This color is now dry after being sitting on here for a few minutes. And so I can just take a little bit of water on my brush and reconstitute it, I think on the back side. Yeah, so these have been on here for quite some time. You can see they're very dry. But if I take a little bit of water, I can reconstitute that ink and use it on my next project. So no need to wipe your palettes when you're finished, okay? Unless you are super, super full and you want to add a different color and you don't have a space, just wipe a little area for your new color. I am checking the comments, just making sure I'm not missing anyone because there's a lot of information here, so please feel free to ask if you have any questions. And then that brings me to my next item, which is the watercolor brush. Now we sell the Connoisseur. Okay, this is a synthetic bristle brush. You want a synthetic bristle brush because if you have a natural hairbrush and you push on it like that, it's just gonna stay flopped over and it's not gonna bounce back to that nice point that you want for your watercolors. So you want a synthetic bristle round. So this one's a round brush. There's a lot of options for these. We of course love this one, but you could easily head to your local craft store and get a round synthetic bristle brush. We use number 4. I've had this one for a very long time, and every time I use it and I'm finished with it, I'll dip it in water and reshape it so that I don't have sort of frayed bristles, and then I dry it like that or on its side so that it will dry back into that point, okay? And then we also have our Tombow markers, okay? So even if you don't use Tombow, you need to have a water-based marker, okay? So water-based is different than watercolor. So water-based is going to be a more concentrated color than, say, your watercolor marker. So a watercolor is gonna be more water-based. It's gonna have more water than color. And a water-based marker is gonna have more color than water. So you want that concentrated color. We have used Marvies in the past, love them, love Tombows. I know that there's some other companies that you could totally use. Just play with them. If you're not sure if your marker is water-based, all you have to do is draw a little line with your marker and grab a little brush with a little bit of water on it. If it moves, if the color moves, that means it's a water-based marker. So you may have a watercolor or a water-based, but it will work with your water. It'll work with your stamps. So that's a good way to kind of tell. Not all of them will say alcohol or water-based. So sometimes you just have to go and look and kind of just see if the markers that you have would kind of work with this method just by doing that. So one of the biggest questions we get, why markers and not ink pads? Excuse me. So for me and for my mom who uses them as well, there is a place to use an ink pad, a water-based ink pad. If you're just doing one color, maybe you're doing a ton of one thing, like a ton of leaves or something like that, you can use an ink pad. The problem is when you get something like this that needs 2 colors, you need to have control over those colors. So you can't use an ink pad to get, you know, the purple onto the blooms and then the green onto the stem. I mean, you could probably get creative and figure it out, but it's not as easy as just taking your marker and coloring onto the blooms just like that. You can see trying to catch the light there, and then taking your green and inking the stem. It's just a lot easier to use the markers as opposed to the ink pads. You certainly can if you have like something like a grass that you're gonna stamp a whole lot. You're not gonna put more than one color on it. It's a good option for that. But overall, it's just not something that we promote just because it's not really user friendly to do it for everything. Let's see. Yeah, Sheila, great idea. You can smash an ink pad onto your palette and use it that way. Yeah, so you can add color to your project by using the color off of your ink pad and just putting a little bit of that color onto a palette, and then you can take it off and then add it to your project. So yes, get creative, definitely. Okay, and then also we have our stamp positioner, which is so wonderful. This is a really great tool. It's really, really handy. And hi, Karen. Hello. Great to see you, girl. It's really handy when you're trying to position something. So when you need to position something, let's see. I'll just show you a demo on this because it's really hard to kind of explain. But you would stamp something onto this little pane here, and using the corner, and then you would pull this away and then stamp your image in there wherever you want it on the paper. I'm gonna have to show you a sample of that, an example of that, and that's fine. It's kind of hard to explain without seeing it. I love my stamp positioner. Was eagerly awaiting. Yay! Yeah, the stamp positioner is amazing. It's kind of a game changer. It really is. If you're somebody who wants something to be in an exact spot, and a lot of times we do, you know, we want a bird to sit on a branch. A positioner is perfect for that. So, and then of course your water. You need a little cup of water to work with as well. So those are the basic tools. A lot of these you can get, you know, at your local craft store. You can certainly get them on artimpressions.com. But these are sort of the basic tools that you need to start the Art Impressions watercolor technique, okay? So 2 of the stamp sets that you absolutely have to have. These are like the basic, and every set that you purchase after these assumes that you already have them, okay? So, and I'm sure you can guess which ones these are if you've been stamping a while. Flower set 1. Okay, so you've got to have your flowers. You've got to be able to fill in everything around. So an example of this would be like this barn. This barn is in a whole nother set, but we're going to have all these little flowers to fill in around the barn. So the barn set isn't going to come with flowers. It's going to assume that you have them. So you're going to get 2 filler flowers, actually 3 filler flowers, an accent flower, and then 2 stems here. And thank you, Claire. Yes, Watercolor Beginner Supplies. She just linked that below if you're interested. But these 2 stems are amazing, and then these are fillers, and I'm going to show you how to use all these. And then the other set is the Foliage Set 1, and that's going to have your foreground grass, your background grass, your foreground leaves, your background leaves, and then a vine, and then this little cute little bunch here, which I'm going to show you how to use that foliage. So these 2 are an absolute must. This is if you're not sure where to start and you want to start stamping the Art Impressions way, these 2 are a must, okay? And then I am also going to use, let's see, trying to decide if I want to show you some of these things as we kind of progress into yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. You can substitute other flowers if you want to. Yeah, you're gonna get the Bible journaling ones actually have some similar ones in there, so you would be fine with that. Okay, so those 2, and I think at this point, I am going to transfer you and change views here, and we are going to start with the demo, and then I'm going to show you how to use these foliage and flowers, how to kind of stamp them in sequence and get that, you know, light and dark variation that you see kind of when you look out your window. You see those highlights and you see those shadows. So welcome to Back to Basics, and here we go. Oh, I'm doing a giveaway too. So I am gonna give away, let's see, I think I'm gonna give away one of the sets I'm gonna use today is the little cottage by the beach. I'm gonna give away this set today, and you'll also get a catalog and a watercolor catalog and all that good stuff. If you have this, we'll talk and I'll get you something else. But that's the one I'm going to give away today. So to be entered in a giveaway, I want you to tell me what your plans are this weekend. If you're going to do anything fun, it can be anything. It could be reading a book or hanging out with friends or you know, sitting by the fire or anything like that. So if you don't have it and you want it, enter. What are you doing this weekend? And that is going to get you entered in to win this. So I'm going to include this. I'm going to include Art Impressions Catalog, which has a ton of really beautiful colored images in it, and a bunch of our products and all of that good stuff. Even if you don't shop with it, it's just a really great resource to get lots of ideas. And then I'm also going to include the Watercolor Catalog. Do we have a Watercolor Catalog? Yes. The 2020 Watercolor Catalog. Can they get these? Yeah, they can. You can get these online if you want it. So it's going to have all your basics here that I just talked about. And it's going to have all of the sets, watercolor sets that we have. Okay. Lots. Look at all of these images in here for inspiration. So this is on the website if you want it, even if you don't win. But this is just such a beautiful catalog, and I'm going to put this in there as well. So that's what you're going to get. Oh, and it has all the Bible journaling too, just in case you have been curious about Bible journaling. Lots of inspiration in here too. So this is just a really nice resource to have, and I'm going to include that in the catalog, and then this little Cottage by the Beach set, okay? So you have to tell me what you're doing this weekend in order to win, and I will have my wonderful helper choose somebody by the end of the video so that I can announce at the very end. And then I also have a very exciting announcement to tell you at the end of this live as well. So you'll want to stick around, and if you can't stick around, don't worry, it will be on the Facebook Live or the Facebook feed for you to check out later, okay? So, thank you, Sheila. I think so too. Actually, Joel does a ton of our, actually Joel does everything to prepare our catalogs, and so he does all of that for us. And I'm just going to get this sort of adjusted here so that I can get you set up like this. And, oh, Annie, you're going to England. Oh my goodness, take me with you. Very cool. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Will you grab that that little thing? I'm speaking to my wonderful assistant here. Will you grab me that little card downstairs? That okay, so the 1 second, everyone. Okay, so now technical difficulties. Okay. Just don't worry about it. Okay, so I am going to take my watercolor paper and I'm going to, this is the Canson, okay? So don't mind us. We're just having some difficulties here. Okay, we're good now. All right. So this is my watercolor paper from Canson, okay? And we're going to start off with the flowers. And we are going to take these, and I've got them on all my blocks here, okay? So Mary this weekend, hubby's doing a side job so I can play my craft room. Ooh, that sounds fun. That sounds like a great weekend ahead. Fantastic. Okay, Nat. I assume it's Nat. Maybe it's Ken, but I assume it's Nat. She's going to go for a walk this weekend. Yes, that was it. Okay, so I didn't want to say anything because I wasn't sure if, okay, so my assistant is my mom. She's here. I was like, do you want me to say that you're here? And she's like, I can't go on video right now. So she is here, and say hello.
Hi, everyone.
So she is here, and she's my lovely assistant today. And I wanted to do a little shout out to Deanna, who is so wonderful. She is on here all the time, and she's so encouraging. And she made the most beautiful little cards for us. And I gotta shout her out because these are just so cute. Look at this. Look how adorable this is. Look at this card. She's got her vines, her flowers, her little pot. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. And I meant to grab it when I came up here to film, and I totally forgot. But I just had to shout her out because this is just so, so sweet. And I appreciate it. And it meant a ton. It meant a ton when I got it in the mail. So thank you, Deanna. You are so, so sweet to do this. And I will absolutely treasure it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wanted to showcase it. And actually there's another one for my parents as well. And this one's Bonnie and Phil. So sweet. So, so very generous and thoughtful. So Deanna, thank you so much for those very, very sweet cards. Absolutely loved them. Okay, so I am going to back to business here after I had to just shout her out. We have our flowers here, okay, and I am using the basic set here, okay. So this is the basic set, basic flower set, 4052. And this is one of the ones that is a must-have, okay? So I am just going to take two colors, and I'm just going to show you how to do these. I'm going to take, oh, Deanna, absolutely love them. They're beautiful. I'm going to take 177, okay? And I'm going to, oh, I'm not on grass, I'm on flowers. I'm going to take 177 and 636. And I'm just going to take my little daisy bunch here, 636, and I'm just going to ink this, and I am going to take that stamp, and let's zoom in a little bit here because I feel like it's just a little bit easier to see. So I'm going to ink that stamp, and I'm going to stamp this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times or more, okay? So when you stamp 5 times or more, you're gonna get dark and light variation, which is so incredibly important. You need to have that dark and light. If I were to stamp this 5 times using that same ink, if I were to re-ink it every time, I'm just gonna show you this because it makes a really big difference in the final outcome. Okay, you can see how dark that is. And if I take my brush now, which by the way, when you first use your brush and it's really dry, a lot of you have heard this many, many times, you really want to open the bristles, push it up against the wall, roll it around, open up the bristles to let the air pockets out. You have got to do that if you want a nice consistency in the water flow of your brush, okay? Make sure you don't have any water on your metal tip or this metal piece here. This will drip right down onto your paper and you'll be so sad. So you want to dip once, wipe once, and reshape your brush. Now, one of the biggest questions I get is how in the world do I know if it's enough water? And one of the things that I like to do, I'm going to zoom out just so you can see this, is I like to take my brush and just hit it on my little finger a little bit. If I feel just a teeny spray, that's exactly the right amount for me. So that's a really nice neutral amount of water to have on your brush. You may find that you need less water or more water depending on what you're doing. But you're gonna dip once. Let's do this again. So you're gonna dip once, wipe on the side. Okay, so dip once, wipe on the side. I was off camera. reshape it. If you're not sure, always use your fingers so that you can know how much water you've taken off of the edges. You're not squeezing too hard. This is just the neutral. So if you end up having too much, you can squeeze off just that very tip. But you're gonna dip once, wipe once, reshape that brush, and then you're going to just kind of hit it on your little finger. If you feel a teeny bit of spray on your hand, that's the right amount. Now, if you get like big blobs of water on your hand, that's too much, okay? So this is Barbara, this is a number 4 connoisseur, okay? So we also have size 6 and size 1. If you want, the one's really nice for those really tiny details. My mom will teach to dip your brush and then just kind of squeeze off that very tip. It's however works for you. Everybody's gonna have a different style. My mom and I have a very different style, and she keeps more of the details intact, whereas I use a little bit more water. So it's really up to you. You're gonna just have to play with it and see. But now that we have some water on our brush, I'm gonna come in here and start dabbing. And I am dabbing using, my hand is resting on the side. My hand is always on the table. Okay, if your hand is not on the table, you're probably gonna be poking. You do not want to poke. Poking is going to be something like this. See how much water I distribute? It's like the teeniest amount, okay? So when you dab, it's gonna be doing this with the brush. It's gonna go on the side of the brush. This is a poke. You don't wanna poke your paper. Okay, so I'm gonna take that brush and reshape it. Check and see, okay, I feel a little bit of a spatter, that's great. I'm gonna rest my hand on the table, and as I rest, I can dab like this. Really hard to poke if your hand is resting on the table. So dab, dab, dab. And I'll show you from the side how that's gonna look, because this always is helpful for students in my classes to kind of visualize. I'm dabbing like this. And I'm not gonna hit every single flower, but I'm just kind of arbitrarily dabbing around that vicinity that I stamped in. This is a poke. We don't wanna poke. We want to dab, okay? So I'm dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. You can see how much white empty space I left, and we want that white open highlight, okay? You'll see the difference here when I come in and fill this in. This is a question we get a lot. I can't get the highlight in there. I don't know how much to dab. The second you think, is this enough? The answer is yes. Move on, because you can always come back and add more water. But it's really hard to add in those highlights once you've added in too much water, okay? So for this one, I am just going to dab. And you can see if I don't leave any highlights and I dab all around, that is a big purple blob, right? And that's not going to read as a natural flowery bush, okay? It's gonna read as a very two-dimensional flat blob on a paper. This is gonna read more three-dimensional, okay? Poking ruins the brush. Yes, Deanna, poking ruins the brush. You will have your little bristles frayed out at all angles, and you definitely don't want to poke. You want to dab, because when you dab, all those bristles stay together. See that? They all stay together, just like that. Okay, so any questions on the flowers? Go ahead and ask in the comments, and I will hopefully see that. It always says it's out. Is it back in stock? Claire, is that back in stock? I'm not sure. I'll have Claire check. Lee, you can always get one of these at your local craft store. Just make sure that it's a synthetic bristle round brush. I haven't found one that I like as much as this, but if this is out and you really want to stamp, you can find a substitute. But I know how frustrating that can be. A lot of this is due to, shipping delays and things like that. We've actually just gone through a a really big ice storm where we've had power outages for days and days at a time. So shipping has been really delayed as of late. So on top of, you know, all of the other things that our country and the world is going through right now. So we are doing our best to make sure that you have all the tools that you need to do this. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my stemmed flowers. And I'm going to take that purple. Okay, I'm going to take that purple. And I'm going to ink the little blooms. And this is the example I used why we don't use an ink pad. Can you show the stamp bushy one? It's not used much. Yes, I'm going to show you all the flowers in that set. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to stamp this again 5 times. And yes, Claire says they are in stock. Great, thanks, Claire. And notice I'm bringing this to a point. Okay, this is going to give you that bouquet look, and that's really how these flowers grow. I see a lot of this, which, you know, if this is your style, that is 100% fine. You are the artist, you get to choose. But I'm here to give you sort of the tools you need to make your paintings look as realistic as possible. So if you do something like this, that's totally fine. The problem is that these grow from one root source. It's kind of like a root ball. So you need to have these, if you want it to look like they're coming out of a pot, or you know, you want it to look more realistic, they're going to grow out of the same root system here. So it's going to be more of a bouquet. It's going to be a V shape. Okay, so I'm going to take that. Oh, Carol, great to see you. I hope you entered in what you're doing this weekend so that you can still win the little giveaway. Okay, so I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to keep this sort of in the same spot, and then I'm just going to move the top. So I'm going to go kind of like that. Something like that. Okay, so you can tell these two look actually quite different, even though I was just using the same stamp. Okay, so when I go to add water, I'm going to take my brush and I am going to just water the blooms. I'm not going to add water to my stems, and I'm just going to dab once again. My hand is resting on the table. I'm dabbing here and just touching those blooms. Okay, am I fuzzy? I feel like I'm a little bit fuzzy. If I'm fuzzy on the video, the re-upload won't be fuzzy. It'll be pretty clear. Sheila is crafting this weekend. Yes, girl. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in this one and I'm gonna dab these little flowers. Now you can keep this really simple like that, or you can sort of pull some of this color out and give it a hazed look. The dark parts come forward, and then the really light little dabs and colors kind of move to the back. So you can do something like that. I want to show you why we don't add water to the stem, because it makes it look really disproportionately large in comparison to the bloom. So you can see that difference? It just makes this look really, really wide. And Velda, it could be my connection too. So, okay, so Beverly's gonna be resting. She's getting her Pfizer, good girl. Maybe do a little watercoloring. Sweet, well, you're gonna need some rest, girl. So get the rest you need and do a little watercoloring. That's a nice, kind of a nice thing to do, that sort of, it's like therapeutic. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the Art Impressions watercolor? I feel like it's therapeutic for me. I teach this, but I also do it in my free time because it's so fun. So it's sort of an outlet for me, which is why I love coming back and doing these lives and doing these videos for you all, because it's just fun. And I also just love hanging out with you. So, okay. let's see, Carol needs more practice. Oh, you know what? The best way to get really comfortable with something is to just keep on working. Keep on doing it. Okay, so I'm going to show you these other stems too. And let's see. I'm going to grab actually a different color just so that we're not getting filled up with this purple and green. And I'm going to ink this flower. This is the Salvia. And once again, I'm going to do this in the same way that I did the other one. You're going to just do it in a bouquet shape. Okay. Oh, Shelly, definitely be praying for your daughter. That is just the pits when you're not feeling well. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to dab, once again, leaving highlights. I love this little salvia. It's so cute. You can hang this upside down. It looks like wisteria. Look how cute that is. This one, I need to grab it more often because every time I stamp with it, I absolutely love it so much. And every single flower in this set is just so good. It's just so good. And there is a very practical need for each one of these. I want to show you next the little dots, because this one actually works really well with the daisy bunch up here. Because the daisy bunch is the foreground and the little dots are the background. So I can take my purple. And just ink some of these. I usually don't ink the whole stamp. I'll ink some of these and just sort of stamp them in the background of whatever image I'm using or whatever project I'm doing. This is typically a background stamp, but I absolutely love it because this is a bigger stamp, but this could read as the same flower just further away. So I would just do a little bit of dabbing back here, and I'll show you that when we do our project as well. You can use that tall flower as a tree in the background. Yes. Yes, you can. And let's see. Am I missing anyone? Let's see. Would you ever do dark in the center, then stamp off on both sides? Oh, absolutely, Kathy. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. So you can do, let me show you that. I'll use the Salvia again. So I'm going to ink this. And I'll do dark in the center, and then I'll stamp off on both sides. I think that's what you're referring to, but I do that a lot too. Absolutely love it. Or I'll do kind of dark in the middle and on the outsides, and then light in between. So you can just kind of bring your brush down here, just like that. So it gives you a very different look. Can those be pebbles also? I mean, sure, Barbara. You might have to kind of work with how many little dots you use and in the sequence that you stamp them. If you're doing pebbles that are going to be that small, it's probably going to be easier just to use your detail tip and just do your little pebbles kind of dispersed out. Because sometimes this can be, it's such a small stamp that if you stamp it a bunch of times, and if you use it as a pebble, it's not going to be blurred out by using the water. It's going to look more stampy, which is okay. But we're trying to get away from it looking like you hand stamped it and more like you hand painted it. So if you do a pebbles, I would challenge you to try it, because I mean, you're creative, and I'm sure you can figure out a way to do it to not make it look stampy and on a repeat. So very good thought. I also use the dots stamp for sand. Okay, Georgia. I love that idea too. All right, so I'm going to move on to these other little flowers. This one is so cute. This one is the little, it's actually called leaves, but it is a flower. So I think it started out as leaves, but then we loved it as a flower, and so we adopted it as a flower. So this one is a great filler flower. This one is so wonderful as a filler flower, and it is just beautiful, especially in those areas that you're like, okay, I have a big open area that I want to fill something in. This is a really good one to do it with. So I'm just going to dab again, and I'm going to hit those light areas, and then I'm going to come in and hit the darker areas just like that. And, you know, right now you're kind of seeing things as like floating in the air, but once you get them into a pot, it's amazing how different they look. Reminds me of cobblestone roads in Italy. Ooh, Nikki. Yeah. I've never been to Italy, but it is on my list. Are those all from the same set? Yes, Beverly. These are all from this set. Flower set 1, 4052. So I've now showed you this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, and I'm about to show you this one. Okay. Diane, so that's what the stamp does. Been wondering about this one. Thank you for demoing. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm gonna maybe I'll take the pink this time. This is the little foxglove. This is great on a vine. I love this one on a vine. I'll just stamp down a vine so you can see it, but you can also bundle it. So this is the little bunch. Cute. Just little. This is a great little filler. And you can also do it, let's see. I'm going to show you on a vine, and then I'm going to show you how to do it just in like a straight up and down. Okay, so I'm going to grab the 177 just to stamp down this little vine here. Okay, so I have a little vine, and I'll quickly add water, but I'll show you how to do this vine too, so don't worry. Add a little bit of water to that. And then I'm going to take this little foxglove, and this is just so cute on the vine. Just like that. Something like that. So that's really, really cute to do it together. And then you can dab those as well. How adorable is that? And then also, it's going to go like this. So flowers grow up, so you can have it be in a line like this as well. How adorable is that? And maybe you want them to grow kind of like this. Just like that. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush, and I'm just going to dab. Of course, I'm going to leave some highlights. How cute. So these stamps are so versatile. See how many things I did with just that one stamp. That one stamp. This is why this flower set is like a must-have. All the other flower sets, which we also love, these ones, you've got the flower set 2, flower set 3. This one's flower set 4. And then the mini flower set. These are all wonderful stamps as well, and they're going to have equally amazing uses, but there's just that you have to start with the first one. Like, it's just a must. The other ones are great to substitute in, but if you're just starting, don't feel overwhelmed. Just get the #1 flower set and the #1 foliage set. Okay, so those are a must. All right, so now I'm going to, love how the water brings out the highlights of the color so much better. Yes, Darla, me too. Okay, yes, practice, Nicole. Promise, you will feel so much more confident the more you practice and the more you watch these videos. Like, do it with us. That's why we do these lives. And, you know, you can bust out your stamps and do it with us. Bust out your stamps with the YouTube video. You know, if you go to YouTube, I feel like the YouTube is just not as utilized as it could be. you know, you can rewind, you can go slow, you can turn the settings onto slow. You can put your favorite music on the background and just turn it on silent. You can watch whenever you want to. You know, I use YouTube a lot for, you know, different things that I'm learning because I like to stop it, catch up, and then go back if I need to rewind, things like that. So definitely check out, if you haven't checked out the YouTube, go subscribe, check it out. We still post there a lot. Like, comment, share, all of that good stuff so that your buddies don't miss out either. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the foliage set. Okay, so this is foliage set 1. This is 4051. Velda watches YouTube all the time to get ideas. Yay! And Pinterest, yes. Debbie loved the YouTube videos to watch over and over. Yes. And Sheila as well. Yes, yes, yes. Fabine, am I pronouncing that right? Fabine, I think. I am so sorry if I'm pronouncing your beautiful, beautiful name wrong. It is so gorgeous. I don't want to mispronounce it. But she watches so many times when she's learning. Me too. Don't be embarrassed. I rewind and rewind and rewind on things, and sometimes I'm like, oh my goodness, how many times can I rewind? But it's part of the beauty of YouTube, you know? So, okay. So I am going to take this and I'm going to start with my grasses. So the grasses are super, super useful. Diane had a request to kind of use these two little guys. I'm going to show you how to do those. These are so underutilized. I absolutely love these as well. Everything has such a fun use. Kendra's Instagram. Oh yeah. I have not been on my Instagram in so long, and Vera, thank you for the reminder. We have good intentions, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I will learn. Maybe you can message me and kind of sound out the pronunciation for me, because I would love to get it right. I really, I love names and I love to pronounce names correctly. So you would be doing me a favor by just messaging me and making sure I have that right. Okay, so I am going to use my grasses first. Now, these are really great because you have a foreground grass, which is the big one, which is set forward, and then you have the background grass set back, okay? So these are really, really awesome. These are also meant to set forward in the foreground. So this one's gonna be close, and then this one is gonna be set back, okay? So I'm gonna show you how to do those. And then this one is so fun, so, so cute. And then of course our vine that we use all the time. So I'm gonna go through all of these as well, okay? Starting with our grass. So the grass is like the number one thing. Great, thank you so much. Yes, message me. The grass is one of those really great things that once you get your grass technique down, it elevates your project so much. Okay, so get your grass. I'm going to ink that, and I'm going to start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is something I teach in every single class. Hi, Ruthie. So good to see you, girl. Yeah, I feel like the beginners it was just time. If you're just joining me really quick, I'll go through the grass in a second, but if you're just joining me, I'm doing a giveaway of the little beach cottage. Okay. I'm giving this away. The little beach cottage. Oh, excuse me. My goodness. And then also the Watercolor Catalog. Yay, the 2020 Watercolor Catalog. It's got all these, oh my word, look at all this inspiration. All this inspiration in here. There's so many inspiring pics. If you like to keep track of which sets you have, this is a really great resource because you can just say, okay, check, have it, check, have it. You know, these are the ones I need if you're collecting, but you know, these all work together as a collection. So this is a really great way to sort of make sure that you're not buying duplicates, which is really easy. How do you come down a hill along a river with the grass? Ooh, good question. So I will show you that when I do the demo of the grass, because I'm going to show you how to use it in perspective. So you really don't need to worry about the middle ground. You want to worry about the foreground and the background, and then your mind will fill in the middle ground, okay? Let's see. So, oh, in order to win the giveaway, I left that out my mind. You guys, I don't know how you put up with me, because sometimes I'm just all over the place. I just love to hang out with you guys as if we're just friends, like crafting on the weekend. So, I try to keep my, my sort of theme very loose so that I can just kind of chat with you. And, you know, I like it to be kind of a conversation. So in order to win the giveaway, you got to tell me what you're doing this weekend. It could be anything. You could just say sleeping in, whatever you want to say. It could be something that you're not really doing, but that you would like to do. Okay, so hi, Helen. Ooh, I have friends in Ohio and they're freezing. Yeah, it's been cold. Okay, so grass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't care if you have this in a straight line or you have this in a cluster. You want to stamp it out. So we always say the grass, you want to walk out. So the grass, I'm going to do this one more time. The grass, you want to walk it out. Walk it out. Okay, something like this, and you want to have dark to light variation. What else do you notice about these clusters? What do you notice? Think about it for a second. They are all touching, right? So when you have these clusters, I'm going to zoom out just a second. I'm going to take that grass. So if this is the first grass, you're going to take your grass and you're going to touch, 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 touch. You are touching the previous stamp every time you stamp it, okay? So you are going to have your previous stamp touching the next stamp. And that's how you're going to walk it out, okay? Andrea, hi! I just got your response, and I'm so sorry. I just realized the last couple times I've been on Wednesday, I've done it in the later time. So my good friend Andrea, you probably thought I was doing it later in the evening so that you and Katie could watch together. So Katie, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm doing it so early. I'm sure there will be more times when I will be on in the evening, and I have a big announcement at the end of this live for those of you who like announcements. So, but great to see you, Andrea. Is this the large grass or the small? This is the large grass, and I'm going to show you the small grass right after. So when you add water to this, you are going to take your brush and you are going to feather this out. I like to pull it well out of the stamp area so that it doesn't look stampy, and I'm going to zoom right back in because I think it's easier for you to see. Maybe. Maybe. Come on, there we go. Okay. And I'm going to take that. Do you see how far out of the stamp I pulled it? Okay. Carmen is having her granddaughter come over, so we'll be busy crafting. Yay! Carmen, that sounds like a great plan. Margaret's working on graduation cards. Fantastic. Awesome. It's kind of crazy. Graduation's coming pretty soon. Y'all, I'm graduating with my microbiome degree this next term. So I'm so excited. So I've got graduation on my mind too. Okay. Can't wait till we can have another in-person class. I know. Oh my goodness, I know. I'm so excited for that. So I am pulling this out. Now I want to show you what happens if you don't pull it out. Thanks, Deborah. It's been a long time coming. Thanks, Nat. Oh, thank you, Barbara. Thank you. Thanks, TJ. Thanks, Debbie. I definitely didn't say that to toot my own horn, but I have to tell you how happy I am that it's like almost done. Because it has been a long time in the making. Okay, Velda, thank you. Thanks, Karen. And Georgia. Georgia, you've been with me on this path a long time. Okay, so I want to show you what happens. This is what a lot of people do, and it's okay. You know, it's hard. The grasses can be kind of hard. But once you get it, you get it. So I want to show you the difference between pulling out. Thanks, Terry and Sheila, Ginger. Thank you, Shanti. Thanks, Ruthie. Yeah, Tony, it's been hard. It's been hard. Okay, so if you're doing grass and you are filling it in, this is what I see a lot, and it's okay. But you fill it in all the way. Okay, you fill it in all the way. And Claire, toot Kendra. I love you, Claire. You fill it in all the way and you're missing out on some of these highlights. You really want to feather it, okay? So if you feather it, and thanks, Diane. Oh, thank you so much. I want to take 15. I'm thinking I want to go to the U.S. to go sightseeing. Oh, others want to go to the U.S. to go sightseeing, but not me. I want to go take an AI class. I love you. That's so awesome. Oh my gosh, that you are wicked smart. Sheila. Oh my gosh, you guys are so my people. I love you guys so much. This is just so fun. You give me life. Okay, so I'm going to take my little grass and I'm going to show you how to do the feathering again, okay? So walk it out, walk it out. You want to stamp at least 5 times, dark to light, okay? Dark to light, stamp it out, okay? So I went both directions, and maybe I'll do one that's just more clustery. And I can go lighter on both sides, something like that, okay? So when I do my grass, if you have a hard time, I have to say, when you have a hard time pulling out the color from the lines, go extra far because you can always come back. So when I would teach classes in person, I would encourage people to go way out, way and exaggerate it like so much just to get that feeling of pulling it out. You know, obviously you're not going to do this on your card, but the feeling of pulling it out, it's really freeing, and you can always pull it back once you've done this. Okay, so I want you to just really, really, really pull it out, and then you're like, oh, well, just a little bit. That's not as weird as pulling it, you know, all this way. So I can do that. And so you're going to pull it out, just feather it, and you're not going to touch the whole thing. Tammy, it might be blurry, but on the replay, it will be clear. So I'm going to post this onto the Facebook wall, and I will post this onto the Facebook wall, and it won't be blurry. Our service right now is just not great. Because of all the power outages and stuff. So, okay, we'll try that and see if that's better. And then I've got a couple other tricks that I can try too. Okay, so I turned, yeah, connection issues. I'm sorry, everyone. So I'm going to try this and just see if we can't get a better signal. Okay. So it looks like it's coming back. Okay, great. All right, so if you're just, if you didn't catch what I was doing with the grass, I pulled this way, way, way out. This is exaggerated, so that you can get the feeling of pulling it out of the lines. And then when you do just a little bit, it's much more comfortable. So you can exaggerate. Okay, great, great. I'm glad this worked. Awesome. All right, so that is grass. And once you get your grass, you know, once you get your technique down for your grass, it's going to change the way that your image looks. Like, you don't think about it, but this is not how you see grass. This is how you see grass. So, yay! Great, Nicole. Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Valerie. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to show you the vine. And I'm going to take that 177 again. And I'm going to ink this vine. And I'm going to stamp it again 5 times. Okay, I'm going to take that vine, stamp it 5 times, and I've got dark and light variation again. Are you seeing a pattern here? With these foliage and flowers, you really want to use, keep in mind that dark to light variation. You want to stamp them 5 times. Okay, so we want to dab, and I'm not going to get every single leaf. I just want to get this vicinity. I want to blur some of the lines, and some of the lines I want to keep intact. So it's been such a long time since I've seen grass. Are you covered in snow? Do you just use the same color for greenery, or do you change up? Darla, I do change it up. I change it up often. I use 249 a lot. I also really like some of these, let's see, this really beautiful sage color, which is, I believe it's 228. I think that's the one I use a lot. But these are really beautiful. There's some really nice greens by Tombow. So, did anyone already tell you you are so great? You know, Nicole, I can always hear it again. Thank you so much. I just always appreciate you guys, your encouragement. It really just means the world. Okay, let's see. And if I'm frozen, I will repost the video because it's still recording for me. So if I need to, I will just, let's see. I should say, if you need to rewatch, if it's frozen for you, the video will play on the feed as normal. So if you miss anything, you'll be able to go back and watch. Okay. Barbara, yeah, she is giggling in the background. She has as much fun as I do with you all. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to this guy, which Diane had questions about both of these guys. This one is so unique and fun, and we were actually talking about it last night, and we were saying how much we don't use it, and we should, because it's just so cute. So I'm going to take... I am going to take 177 and I am going to ink. So this one, I should preface this by saying I generally don't use the whole stamp. So I'll use parts of the stamp, and I will show you how to use the whole thing. But I typically will use parts of the stamp, and I stamp it something like this for a background. So you can take that and you can ink this, add your water, and then at the very bottom, you create a horizon line. Something like that. So that's a nice background. And then you can also take it, I'm gonna pull that off, and you can use the sides for a super cute little bunch. Little foliage bunch, and you can add water to that. So if you had something like some little flowers in here, I can add some just to show you. If you had maybe your little daisy bunch, something like this. So you can use it as a foreground and a background. So if you have your little daisy bunch like that, you can use that as a little foliage. I love this too as a whole here. So this was the original idea behind this one, is to set it into your pot as like a really easy, simple foliage in your pot. And say you have a little pot down here, you would just add your water into here. And then you would put in, so say you had your pot here. And then you could add some little flowers. Something like this. So if I wanted to add something along those lines, you can do something like that. Looks like a little bush on the ground. Yes, that's what this is. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. And I'll show you guys this again when I use, when I do the demo. We are going so overtime, but I hope that's okay. I am like, I think I'm at an hour and some. You know what? I have so much fun with you all. You know I'm long-winded. Okay, let's see. All right. So that's how to use that one. You've got 3 little uses here. And you can take also, you know, the other side if you want to. This one's a little bit more, so this side's more rounded, and then this one has more like fingers on it. And so you can also kind of go this way. See how different that one looks with the fingers. So both of these sides are different. So this one's unique to this one. So you can use either side. Again, that's the versatility of the stamps. Let's see. And then I can take my brush and I can add my water. See how much more this one reaches out. Something along those lines. Okay, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 stamps in one with this one. Okay, overtime is great. Yay. Okay, yeah, this is the foliage set that you really need when you're first starting, for sure. And then these two, which are so great because this one is the background and this is the foreground. So we'll start with the foreground. And I know, Terry, the time just goes so fast, and I always think, okay, I'm gonna be really concise. And it never works. It never works. I just love you guys. I love hanging out. I love to see what you're doing. I love to read the comments. I love to just take my time so that you're getting what I'm saying. And yeah, that's the genius of the designer. I know, she is a genius. I tell her that daily. I'm like, you are a gifted adult. Like, you are so creative. Like, she comes up with things that I would never imagine. And then she'll release something and I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. It's so unique. It's so different from everything else you see in the industry. Like, it is so innovative. And I'm like, how in the world can you top it? And then she does. And then she comes out with something like even cooler. And it's like, okay, where in the world does your genius end? Let's hang out all day, Diane. Agree. Okay, so I've got my foreground. And I didn't ink this whole thing. I typically don't. And I will just kind of ink this above. You can ink down here. This is a little stem. I typically avoid the stem just because I like it to look super full and not come back to a point. However, the stem is really nice if you're making this into like its own little tree or something. You can see that stem. So that's really great if you want it to be sort of a little tree or something. Yes, I'm talking about my mom. Yes, Jan, I'm talking about my mama. I mean, I just sing her praises all the time. But it's easy to do. There are so many wonderful things about her. Somebody said a few years ago that she's the female Bob Ross. She is. She's laughing at me right now. But she is. Yes, Ruthie, you can. We've got to find a time. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to just dab this just like I would with the vine. And notice I didn't ink and stamp this one 5 times. This is so big. If you do that 5 times, I mean, you could definitely get a couple stamps in here, but you're going to have a really big, Claire calls her Bonnie Ross. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Oh, Georgia, I love you. Many of you don't know, but I'm the one who recruited Georgia. And Georgia has been teaching with us for a few years now, and she is so good, and we absolutely love her, and I fully found her. I take the glory for recruiting Georgia. Okay, so I'm just going to dab these, and I am going to do the same up here. And it's okay if some of these areas are really light. You can always come back in. This is a good point. You can always come back in and stamp again. So for example, if you were like, oh, this is really, really light, I can go back in and just add another little stamp over this to create some darker areas in here. So I can come in like that if I want more detail. You just want to make sure that your initial layer is totally dry when you do that. So take my great recruit. Yes, I know, Georgia's awesome. Okay, and I'm going to come back in here and by the way, I got some requests to show the waves. The waves belong to Georgia. That is her thing. So she has a video on it. Go check it out. She can share that video. I don't do the waves. The waves that is her thing that she came up with. So definitely ask her about it. Hit her up to show you how to do the waves. Okay, now the background of this stamp is this stamp. And I will show you when we do the example. But I'm just going to ink half of it. You either use this half or this half. I don't generally use this as a whole stamp. And you're going to get a nice foliage. This is going to go kind of by your structures as like trees or bushes. And you're going to use this either as a single or as a part of a green cloud. Okay, does she have a YouTube channel? Georgia, you got a YouTube channel, girl? I can't remember. She posted a video, but I don't know that she posts like often. Yeah, Georgia's taught CKC. Yes, I know. She is very, very good. Georgia had a store for many, many years. So she has been part of this industry for a long time. Okay, so I'm going to take my palette and I'm going to show you the green cloud and how this is going to work with the green cloud. So I'm going to take this. This is 177 for those of you that like the numbers written on the palette. And I'm going to take a little bit of that green and I'm just going to do a little green cloud. Okay. Do a little green cloud. And I do this to make, Georgia says she has the waves on YouTube. Cool. Can you link those, Georgia? Or can you link that? Because we had lots of people wanting to know how to do that. Okay, so I've got my green cloud here, and I do this to make it look more dense. So when you do something like this, it's like, okay, there's a big highlight in here. This is probably a single tree, something like this. So if you had like the trunk, you know, if you had like the trunk, that would be like a single tree. But if you had a green cloud like this and you stamp over it with this stamp, it's gonna make it look a lot more dense. Like there's a lot of trees in here. So it's not just a single tree, it's a lot of trees. It's just gonna make that highlight darker and look like it's stacked. Hi, Therese, welcome. Okay, so I think we've gotten through all of the items on the foliage set here. Okay, other foliage sets include, you're a little off center. Okay, thank you. Yeah, remind me because I do that a lot. And actually, I think I'm just zoomed in a lot too. Okay. Oh, right. So other foliage sets are Foliage Set 2, okay, which is really, really cute. You've got these little vines in there. Foliage Set 3, I use this one a lot. This is the first foliage set where we came out with mirrored images of the vines and the grass, okay. Again, some more mirrored images. I use these little vines a ton. And actually, these are so cute too. I use these a lot in my reads. And this is the new mini foliage set that just came out fall 2020. This leaf is amazing. I used that with the large tree. This is the background stamp. And actually you can get that something similar. It's not totally the same because these are more rounded, but how we did on this part, this one, you can get something similar, which is really fun. Your little trees here, your branches, your little grass, it's just a little different grass. It's really, really tiny. And then your branches set, which is great if you're doing like an overhang, if you've got birds. Mini foliage set is awesome. Yeah, Diane, it really is. This has to be like one of my favorite sets. The branches are great. You just put your foliage into the branches and you've got little trees and such. So those are the different options for foliage. If you have not started, don't look at those, look at this. This is the one you want, okay? If you're just starting, these are the two sets, okay? So I just gave you a full class on the basics of how to stamp your foliage and flowers. So let's do a couple projects. These are gonna be quick projects that you can kind of see it all come together. Okay, so I'm going to use a pot from the Ornate set, the Ornate Pot Set, which is not, oh here, is this one it? Yeah. So this is from the Ornate Pot Set, and you get 4 little pots. So if you're just starting, get your foliage and your flowers, and a pot set, something to put them in. If you're just starting, don't go crazy and buy, 20 sets. You may get to the point where you want the whole collection, and that's fine. But when you're just starting, get a couple sets, your foliage and flowers for sure. Get a pot set. I also really love this one. This is the rustic container set. Okay. Love that. If you want to do a structure, I'm going to be showing you how to do the little beach cottage today, because I want to show you shading on the structure. And, just dip your toes in and get started. But I will warn you, once you start, you will want them all because they're so fun. Tammy says she loves the rustic set. Yes. Kendra, would it be possible for you to do the other flowers and foliage sets one day, like your explanations? Shanti, you will want to stick around at the end for a very exciting announcement I have. So that's all I'll say to that for right now. Yes, I want them all. Love the beach cottage set. So good. So good. Okay, so I'm using the Ornate pot. Okay, I'm going to use 565 and I'm also using 969. So this is a question we get. I use these two to create a gray. Now, a lot of people I love you, Shanti. A lot of people will say, why in the world don't you just use a gray pen? And that's logical. That's a logical question. It's a very good question. But the reason is because gray is flat, and we don't like things that are flat. We like things that are multidimensional. And when you use these two markers, you are going to get a multi-dimensional gray that's going to have hints of brown, hints of blue, and hints of gray. And it's going to be different variations of the gray. It's going to be a gray that has a more warmer hint to it, and grays in different areas that have a more blue tint. So it's really, really nice to have both of these for your gray. And that's why I don't just grab for, just a plain gray. That's really flat. So that's why there is times to use blue first and brown first. And I'll kind of go over those things. It's a little bit more in depth, but I will go over those things during another live. But for now, for this one, I'm going to go brown first and I'm going to go blue second. Okay. So the magic combo. Yes, Diane. Yes, it is a magic combo. So I guess I could give you like a quick rundown, but I do blue second on anything that is tin or metal. And then I do brown second on anything that is wood. So anything that's wood, like a door or, any kind of like barrel or anything like that, I'm going to use the brown second and the blue first. On anything that's metal or pottery or tin, I'm going to use the brown first and the blue second, because the second color is really going to come forward more than the first color. Okay, so I've got brown first. You don't get the variation of color if you don't make your own gray. Yep, you got it. Ding, ding, ding. Hit the nail on the head, Karen. Okay, and then I'm doing the blue second. So I'm going to stamp off when I do this method, because this is so much ink. I'm going to stamp off once. Okay, see how dark that is? I'm going to stamp off once, and then I'm going to stamp onto my project paper. Fabine, how do you decide if you use the magic combo or when you just need one color? That's up to you. That's really up to you. I sort of in the last year or so have really gone to the 2-color combo. I don't typically just grab for brown or just grab for blue unless I'm doing something that is meant to be white. If I'm doing something that's meant to be white, then I will grab the blue, because the blue is going to have a nice shadow, something like snow. You're going to want to use just the blue, because that's going to have a really nice shadow. You don't want a lot of brown in your snow. So something like that. But again, I will have another live on, just snow or things like that. So again, that kind of feeds into my announcement. I'm sure you guys are kind of putting the puzzle pieces together now. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush and, oh, good, Helen. That's great. She says, this class is such a great refresher. It's been away a couple years, just bought 2 new sets. Welcome back. So glad that you're back. And of course, we always appreciate your support. We always try to come out with things that you just love and you want to use. Oh, the numbers again, Marianne, 565 is the blue and 969 is the brown. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush. Now, I want to emphasize one thing. You do not want to add water to the line, okay? You don't want to trace this. And I'm going to zoom in so you can get a really, really good view here. You do not want to trace the lines. You don't want to do, I'm going to use it on this as an example, okay? You want to use the lines as a color source. You don't want to trace, okay? So this is what I see. And I have questions about a lot. Mine doesn't look like yours, or mine doesn't have, you know, the dimensionality that yours has. So I would have this and over here, and this is kind of traced. This really is not what you want, okay? This looks still very one-dimensional, and it just looks like a really thick stamp. Okay, you don't want to trace the lines. You don't want to have between you. Oh, Jan, I can't say for sure. Okay, so you might be on the right track, partially. Okay, so I don't want to trace this, okay? Now I want to show you instead, you want to add the color below the line, okay? Or next to the line, or the water, I'm sorry. You want to add the water next to the line or below the line and grab that water or that color as you pass. Okay? You want to grab the color as you pass, but you don't want to follow the line. You just want to grab that color as you pass your brush by. Do you see the difference there? You're pulling the color out using the water, but you're not following the lines. And you always want to keep a highlight in the interior. So the closest part toward you is what's going to be highlighted. So I'm not going over the line, but I'm going next to it to grab a little bit of that color and pull it out. I'm going under the line and pulling out the color, next to the line and pulling out the color. Okay, and you want to go in sections. Notice I'm working in just this section. I'm working just this section. Now I'm working just this section. Okay. Oh, Barbara, thank you. Great. But do you see the difference? Look at the difference between this one, and this one. And you also don't want to go straight through other lines. So if I were going here, I don't want to go straight through that middle section and pull out straight through, because you're obliterating your lines and you don't want to do that. Okay, but do you see how delicate this is? And then if I wanted to add more color from my palette, I can zoom out so you can see. If I wanted to add more color to my palette or from my palette, I can take, this one's just going to be the 565. And it's going to have a little bit of that blue and gray in it. So I'm going to take a little bit of that blue, and I can just feed this blue into the pot now that I have the basin. And I'm keeping that center area highlighted, but I'm just grabbing the color from the edges. I feel like I always struggle because it's too light. I feel like I always struggle because it's too light to pull it out of the lines. So that's where your palette's going to come in. Some of us are just really light-handed. So I would just practice doing several pots in a row and practice with how hard you're pushing down, because a lot of us really are just very, very light-handed. And when we're light-handed, we just don't get enough ink on the paper. And so you want to practice, you want to have a nice mat like I have below my paper, and you just want to practice with the pressure, because your pressure could be the number one thing. You don't want to push super hard. It's, you know, when you're doing your flowers, it's almost like a tap, tap, tap. But when you're pressing down on these vessels, this is a nice solid stamp. You don't want to, you know, go back and forth. You don't need every single line to be really solid, but you know, a lot of times when people say it's not dark enough, it's a pressure issue. Or if it's too dark, it's a pressure issue. So I would recommend just stamping out the same pot several times and just checking on your pressure, because if you need a little bit more pressure, you're going to get more ink. and that's going to help you get a nice amount of color for your pots and your structures. Okay, so I'm just bringing in this blue, and I'm going to take a little bit more and just pull it into here. And I can also take this blue and just put a little bit in the background. I can use this pot to pull out a little bit of color. You know, I'm not going over the pot line, but I am kind of grabbing a little bit just for a nice little background here. I can do something like that. I'm heavy-handed. Yeah, Valerie, when I first started, I was very heavy-handed. I mean, I pushed down so hard. And it really was for me a pressure issue. So I just needed to practice, because she always says to us, shouldn't press too hard. I know. Honestly, there is a happy medium. And the reason that she says don't press too hard is because most people are like me. Most people are pressing too hard. So you just need to lighten it up a little bit. But for the people like you, Fabine, who are maybe pressing a little bit too light, practice pushing down a little bit harder, and just kind of going with it. But the more you do it, the more you're going to have that muscle memory, and the more you're going to know how much you need, okay? All right, so now let's put in some of our foliage. Yes, the Knitting Magpie. That is so cute, that name. That is so cute. Oh my goodness. My brush always moves into a point. How do I keep the tip flat? So you can take your fingers and just make it into a flat tip like that and go for it. You know, mine does that too when it's newer. So, you know, the more you use it, the more it will kind of fan out. But I generally like it to be a little bit more pointed, but when I dab, you know, the water's going to really be moving around, so it's not going to be too much of an issue. Helpful reminders. Yay, great. Good question. Yes. Let's see. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in some of my foliage. So I'm going to use this one, which doesn't get used very often. And I'm going to ink just that one side. And I'm going to put a little bit of foliage onto that side. Okay. So I'm going to get all my foliage in before I add my water, because I like to do that. And I'm going to use, so that was 177. This one is 249. Okay. And I'm just going to put a few vines in here. And you can have these right on the edge. You can have it on the side. You can have it in the middle. However you want to do it is fine. So this one is 249. And I always like to put a little bit of vines over the edge. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the question from Anna. If you don't have a mat, any suggestions? Oh, there you go, Fabine. Use a little plate, just anything to soften. You can use a book if you want to, you know, anything to kind of flatten out a rough textured surface or anything like that. I use a cottage cheese lid. There you go, Judy. Get creative. You can get creative. All right, so I'm going to take my brush. And because I've stamped this in 5 times, I have that dark and light variation, I can come in and stamp a few singles in here. And because I already have established that dark and light variation, okay? So I'm going to come in and just dab. Dab, dab, dab. Just like this. And I'm going to hit all those little vines that I put in. And then I'm also going to come in here and just dab these little guys. Cute little foliage. Notice I brought a little bit of the color into the pot. Okay, then I'm going to use some filler flowers. I'll just grab my daisy bunch. I'm going to ink this using that same 636. And I'm going to stamp this at least 5 times. And I'll maybe put a couple over here. And maybe just a little bit of the stamp up in there. Love it so much. Why doesn't it work like that for me? I know practicing, yes, it will. Practicing will change everything for you. I will not clean the house. Sorry, I have to practice, my dear husband. Nicole. You know, I think a lot of us feel that way. I mean, I don't have a husband, but I have other things that I'm like, I know I need to do it, but I'm putting it off because I want to practice. Thanks, Ruth Ann. Honestly, Nicole, if you're not part of the Art Impressions stamp group with Carla, get on there. You just have to answer a few questions. It's not our group. It's moderated by Ruth Ann, and Carla Eccles is the owner of that group, but it has so much inspiration. And if you're struggling with anything, if you need extra help, I mean, I'm on there a lot commenting and giving advice. You can tag me if you need help, but I'm on there at least every couple days to just kind of check on things, like stuff, get inspired, you know, connect with everyone. So definitely go on there if you need some extra encouragement or practice, or, you know, get with other people that are telling their dear husband that they're not going to clean tonight. Okay, so I am going to dab, dab, dab. And, okay, I've got my little flowers in here. And then I'm going to put in some more little flowers. I'm going to do a stem. So I'm going to use the Salvia because I just said I do not use this enough. And yes, absolutely, Nicole. I love to share that group because it really is amazing. It's the Art Impressions stamp group. And it's really, I mean, everyone just posts, it's mostly watercolor, but they post all kinds of stuff into that group. And yeah, they are awesome. So I'm going to take a little bit of this off. I just inked a little too much. So again, I'm going to go into a V and just let those kind of sit into the pot. Thank you, Tony. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, Ruth Ann she moderates. Ruth Ann is really just such a gem. That's on Facebook. Yes, Bridget, it's on Facebook. Okay, so I'm going to, and you know, if you're not sure, like some groups, it's kind of intimidating to post anything because you don't know what kind of response you're going to get. But honestly, I've never seen anyone respond with anything other than kindness and love and, you know, good advice. And it's just a wonderful group. Yes, Sue. Yes, that's what I mean. She's putting off her taxes and gonna play with her stamps. Yes, that's my kind of thinking. Oh, good, Nicole. You remember. Oh, yay. Oh, fantastic. Great. Okay, so I'm going to put in some of these little foxgloves. I'm trying to kind of include lots in here that I showed you. Okay, and I'll just put these on some of the little vines. And I mean, if it's not too full for me, it's not full enough. It's just, I love to have this be super full and a giant bouquet. Okay, so now I'm going to add into the center a few more little flowers in here. And maybe I'll grab these teeny tiny ones and do some dark ones in here. So you can see I'm using just the flowers from the flower set. And okay, so I'm just gonna do these in here, all from that flower set. Okay, so there we go. All right. Okay, everybody. Well, I think I am like totally running out of time here. So, I am going to put in some grass and then I'm going to make my announcement because I am at almost 2 hours, you guys. I am almost at 2 hours. I'm getting booted here. No, I'm not getting booted, but I do want to make this, not too long so that, you can come back and easily watch. So I'm going to grab my grass and I'm going to put that in. And then once again, thank you, Tony. Thank you. Okay. I know I'm so long-winded, you guys. Okay. Thank you, Great to see you. Oh, Lindy? Oh, that's such a beautiful name. Or Lindy. Thank you so much for coming. Everybody, I'm doing the giveaway, so they're going to choose someone right now who's going to be our winner. And it was great going back to basics. Lots of great reminders. Thanks, Diane. Learned a lot. Wow, thank you. Diane is an amazing artist. If you haven't seen Diane's work, wow. Every time I see something, I'm like, my goodness, this girl is like, she is gifted. She's got that artist, those artist bones in her. So, how to come up. Oh yeah, thank you. How to come up or down a hill. I'll show you that real quick. This is a very, very simple, technique. So, there's this one. Okay. I'm going to sign it really quick because I am, let's see. Okay. So, the person that wins is going to get this one. And then they're also going to get the little cottage by the beach. And I'm putting my little stipples in here because those of you who know me know that I love these little stipples. So I signed it. And I know 2 hours flew by. I know, Terry. Seek Lindy. Oh, cute. I love that. Lindy, where are you from? Oh, Janelle, great. I'm so glad. Ling, I'm so glad you were here. Janice. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly switch over to, oh, I was going to show you that. My goodness, you guys, my brain. I'm going to show you how to come down from a little stream. Okay, so maybe you've got like your simple scene that kind of like does this. Something, I'm going to totally not draw it well, but you'll get the idea, okay? So you've got your stream here. Okay, so the question was, how do I go from background to foreground with the grass? So you want to completely ignore the middle ground, and you're going to take your grass, your little tiny grass. Thank you, Barbara. That's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Oh, Ruthie. You're going to take your little grass and you're just going to do a little bit in the background. You want to have your horizon line. Okay. Maybe you'll have some trees back here or something. So you'll have your little grass and you might come down just a little bit, but then this middle ground you want to ignore. And then you want to come in with your big grass in the foreground, and maybe you want to have like a little hill that you're looking down on this little stream. So you can have this big grass in the foreground. Do you see that? So it's in the background, the little grass, and then the larger grass in the foreground. And you want to just ignore this middle ground. That's where people run into trouble, is you try to get a mix of the big and little in the foreground, and you don't need to, because your brain is going to already put that together. Okay, so you're going to do your little grass here. You're just going to have your little grass back in the background, and maybe you'll put your little flowers back there too. So I'll quickly show you that, but you're gonna have these big grass in the foreground. These big grass, because that's what's setting you forward, is these big grasses, okay? And then maybe you'll put your really teeny tiny flowers in the background. So maybe I'll grab these teeny tiny little flowers, because that's what's gonna set this back. And then I'll have the bigger flowers in the foreground. Something like this. So can you tell now that we're in the foreground, and then I've got my background in the far back? Yes, Nikki, you can do this. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And then you can add your water and make it very, very simple. Tony's, does that answer your question? Really try to ignore that middle ground. That middle ground is what's going to get you into trouble. Okay? And the person who's looking at this is not going to think, oh, they don't have anything in the middle. They're going to think, oh, that's the background, and then this is the foreground. You're going to have your little stream here. Of course, I totally butchered the stream, but you get the concept. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to switch the camera. Okay, so my winner is Jane Dine, last name D-I-N-E. So Jane, you won today. If you are still on, great. If not, then I will certainly tag you and you'll be able to kind of get a hold of me. I'll actually message you and make sure I have all your information, but you have just won the little beach cottage, yay. The Watercolor Catalog, and then I'm also gonna include the little pot I made today and our regular catalog. So I'm gonna put that in. Yay, congratulations, Jane. Okay, so my big announcement, you guys. I am gonna do a every week. It's gonna be on Tuesday evenings, and I haven't decided the time, but I will have an ad for it. Back to basics with Kendra. So we're gonna do how to do things that are very, very basic. And the thing that I really wanna do is work through set by set. How to do set by set. So for example, like next week on Tuesday, I'm gonna do, because we didn't get this today, but I'm gonna do the beach cottage. So I'm gonna do the beach cottage on Tuesday evening, and I'm gonna show you how to make this. And then maybe like the next Tuesday, I'll go through and do, you know, maybe like the shoes, and then the next Tuesday I'll do like maybe one of the kids. So I'm gonna work through set by set by set by set, because a lot of these we don't get to work with as often anymore. So it's going to be back to basics with Kendra. It's going to be every Tuesday, and it's going to be in the evenings. And I will of course be doing things like giveaways and stuff like that. Probably not every week, but every so often I'll be like, you know, let's do a giveaway. So I'm going to definitely do that. And yay. So we have, oh good. Yes. Tuesdays with Kendra. Yes. So if you guys like this idea, give me some hearts. You know, of course, if you know, we kind of get to the point where you're not learning as much or whatever, we can kind of gear towards something else. But I feel like we have so many new beginners here. Yay, I got lots of hearts. Awesome. I feel like we have so many new beginners here, and people who have been doing this a long time have said, like, I learn something new every time. So I think that this will be good for everybody to kind of come on and just spend, they're going to be quick tutorials, very simple tutorials. It's going to be like a 20-minute thing. Knowing me, I'll probably go to 30 minutes, but you know, who knows? Some of them might be 10 minutes. So it's going to be a quick back to basics tutorial. Margaret, do you need the beach cottage? Yeah, so they're going to be really, really simple tutorials. I'm going to definitely go through like the Rustics container set. This set is so good. I love this set so much. So we'll do like a couple of those stamps in every set. And that's really my goal, is to just, you know, in sequence, like go through every single set and kind of give you guys a good example of like what each set has to offer. So Sheila, yay, awesome. So I love you guys. Congratulations, Jane. If you're on here, I will definitely message you. I'll also tag you in the caption of this video and you'll get all those goodies. And it's gonna be, Barbara, it's probably gonna be around 5 PST. So Pacific time is probably gonna be around 5 p.m. So hopefully my international friends, that won't be too bad for you. But I can't say like 100%. I still have to kind of figure out some scheduling things. So, but that's most likely gonna be the time. It's gonna be like 4, 5, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So great, Linda. So happy to have you today. I love you all. Thank you for bearing with me. If you were here from the beginning to now, wow, we are at 2 hours. And I just absolutely adore you all. I love hanging out, and I hope that you learned something today or a few things. And if you haven't joined the stamp group, get on there. Art Impressions stamp group. It's not our group again, but we absolutely love that group and we're active on there. Also, YouTube, follow us on Art Impressions Rubber Stamps on YouTube. Go watch those videos. Tell us that you still like them. Comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Instagram, we're still on Instagram. We definitely post a lot on there. Bonnie Krebs Bible Journaling. If you want more watercolor, Bonnie Krebs Bible Journaling on Instagram is awesome. So thank you all for being here, and I'll see you on Tuesday. So So look for the ad on Art Impressions Facebook and Instagram, and we'll see you then. Bye everyone. And I'll save this video, so no worries if you missed some of it. Okay, see ya.